Before we get started in this video, I'm going to pose this question to you. Which country makes a silver coin with Noah's Ark on it? Today's video is video number 3 out of a series of 4. We're going to look through this stack of coins right here. This comes from my all-time largest purchase of individual carded coins from a coin show. I purchased this back in February of 2025, so that gives you a feeling of how long it takes for me to get through all of my purchases. I'll say what I said in my other videos in this series. This is probably my favorite coin dealer that I buy individually carded coins from. He is in the Knoxville, Tennessee area, so he's usually at the monthly Knoxville, Tennessee coin show. His cards are priced pretty much straight out of the Kraus catalog, so there's no point in me looking up the Kraus price on anything in here. However, I do compare the coins to the price on Numista, where the community comes together and tries to figure out a price on some of these coins. So I like to compare what I paid versus what I got in what the community thinks the value of these coins are going to be. And I also purchased enough from this dealer that he gave me a pretty nice discount on this purchase. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Let's move these a little bit closer to the front, and we'll jump in. We're going to start with this one loose coin. I bought so much from him that he didn't charge me for the loose coins that I purchased on this day, but this is a coin from Mexico, very low value. Compared to what the peso was worth back then. But this specific coin comes from a time where they wanted to make what they called the Mesoamerican Culture Series. And so the 20 centavo coin featured the colossal Olmec head as it featured the Olmec culture. This coin was only made from 1983 and 84 and is catalog number K491. The other thing I like to point out about this dealer is he labels everything on the carded coins, and so that's really nice. He just must sit around for fun putting coins in flips all day long. Sounds like great fun. One of the themes from about the first half of this video is we're going to take a look at a lot of coins that I thought I already had and was purchasing them for my trade and sell pile, but it turns out I didn't have them because they were very similar to other coins which I did have, but the coin that I picked up is different. So case in point, we're going to take a look at this coin from Greece right here. Now he labeled this as very good, and I guess on camera it looks just about as bad as it does when I'm looking at it. There's actually pretty good details here, but somehow the metal itself, this is an aluminum coin, has gotten somewhat dirty or so it kind of makes it difficult to see the quality of this coin, but there isn't a lot of, shouldn't be a lot of details on here, just Greek words around the top, a crown, and then a date on here of 1922, but the details look kind of good on that. This was made 1922. It is a 10 lepta, cam 66.1, because there is a variety I'm going to mention. This is a 10 lepta, and I guess the Greek L right here and the A are, well, the A is kind of there, but the lambda right there is kind of well worn. So there are two versions of this coin. This is the thin version, and the 66.2 is half a millimeter thicker. These were minted at the Poissy, France mint. Their mint mark is a lightning bolt, which appears right here, barely above my finger. And one thing of note is that the Greek Empire of that time had two different rulers in 1922. They had the King George II of Greece and then King Constantine. And perhaps the change in thickness of this coin was to signify the change of the monarch. And so I've seen that implied, but not actual proof of that. I don't know why they would have made that change. It doesn't actually name the monarch anywhere on here. So as an example, I paid 10 cents for this coin, but the Numista price said that that coin's worth 90 cents. For the next coin I thought I had already is going to come from the Dominican Republic from 1979. This side features the normal Dominican crest and shield that we're used to seeing on many of their coins. We flip it over. And a lot of the Dominican coins at this time featured, I just realized his name's not on here and I didn't write it down. I think this is Juan Pablo Duarte. And in 1976, it was the centennial of his death. So he first appeared on coins on 1976, where they actually wrote down the centenario of de Muerta, for the centennial of his death on this 1 centavo coin. And then in following years, in the 78 to 80, they featured the same portrait, but they took away the reference to the centennial of it. But I was surprised I didn't have this coin. And in 1978, the coin was minted in Philadelphia. The ones dated 1979 were also minted in America, but at the San Francisco Mint in the year 1978, but they were intended to circulate in 79. And so I noticed that there aren't a lot of people who have this on Numista, even though there were 3 million of these minted. So I wonder if they're a little bit more rare than I would have thought. Or it could be one of those things, it's such a low value coin that no one was really holding on to these. Sometimes it's the least valuable coins that are the hardest to come by in some occasions. Next we have a coin from Kazakhstan. This one is dated 2012. It's catalog number KM25. The value of this coin is the 10 tenge. Here is the mint mark, although that's 3 Cyrillic letters, so I can't really tell you what that stands for. And this little circular symbol right there also is, I think that's a sun that appears on a lot of the Kazakhstan coins. And so they still make a coin similar to this today. But this specific coin started in 1997. They made it until this year of 2012. This is the non-magnetic version of this coin. Then in 2013 to 2018, a very similar looking coin out of a different metal was magnetic. And then starting in 2019, they switched from a Cyrillic alphabet on their coins to our alphabet on here. And the biggest difference is, instead of that Cyrillic letter that looks like a K, they put our letter of a Q. And so that's called the Latin version of the coin. There are also some subtle differences in different years of this coin that the catalog's not going to mention, like the placement of the star, the size of that circle in the middle, the thickness of the line, and the size of these little emblems right here. Coins from Guatemala go through many subtle changes over the decades that they've been making these. This one is the 5 centavos from 1980. Zoom in on this side, KM 276.2. This version of the coin in 1980 is one of, I counted 13 different varieties of this coin in my catalog. This version was only made for 1 year. And so after this year of 1980, they redesigned the tree, which is on this side. Then as we flip it back over, well, their coins feature a scroll with the date of liberty, has a Quetzal bird standing on top of it, and so most years of this coin, the scroll itself is raised and the dates of written on the scroll are etched into it, but this time the scroll is flat and the letters are raised up above it. And so the Quetzal bird also has more of an outline than a raised version of the coin. So that's what makes the 1980 coin unique. So I thought that last coin was a pretty good chance I wouldn't have it, even though I know I had several that looked like it. Here's another coin that I thought I had. This is from Spain from 1976. A lot of coins from Spain will feature the date that appears right here is the date that the coin is first minted, and then the actual date appears inside of these tiny little stars, which is so difficult to see. And being a tiny coin, it's hard to see that is, it does have a 76 in there. But as it turns out, you didn't have to know that, because this coin was only made in 1976. They didn't make a 1975 version of the coin. But it was the year that Juan Carlos I did become the king of Spain. This one is a half of a peseta, so it's a 50 centimos. Catalog number is KM 805, and this is a 1-year coin. Now, in 1980, for their upcoming World Cup, they had a World Cup design, and then it was discontinued. But this 1 year, they made 4 million of these coins. And for our next coin that I thought I had but didn't is this Indonesia 25 sen, dated catalog KM8. The year is 1952, so they did make another coin in later years that appears to be just like this one. This coin was actually minted by the Dutch, so it has some Dutch privy marks on it, like that. I believe that's a fish and a caduceus on this scalloped design on this side. And then we flip it over, and we have the eagle on here is called the Garuda Pancasila, which is the Indonesian national emblem. What makes this coin different is the name of Indonesia is written on this side in Arabic, where in the later version of this coin, it spells it out in our alphabet. It'll say Indonesia right here. So I didn't have this version, one particularly rare, but it was only made for 1 year. But there are 200 million of them, and this is my first one. Our next coin that I thought I had but didn't have was this one from El Salvador. And a lot of the coins at the time features Francisco Marazan on here. And then as we flip it over, this one is a 1 centavo. So they had a few different versions of the 135 catalog number. This one is 2A. Formerly in older catalogs, this is going to be listed as 135C. But this 1 year, well, it was made out of copper zinc, so it's probably different metals at one time. But what makes this one different is this 1 year, they have the engraver's initials on both sides of the coin. There are two different engravers for on this side, we have a DH initials right here underneath the neck. And the one on this side, I think, is harder to see. Maybe it's because it's well worn. If you look to the left of the base of the number 1, I think it's easy to see the letter S, but there's also an M that's supposed to be next to the S. It's supposed to be SM for the engraver of this side. The 1 centavo coin was demonetized in El Salvador in 2001. So we've got another coin that I thought I had, but I didn't. This coin's going to be from Greece, and I'll start off by showing this side of the tin lepta. This one is made out of aluminum. This is our second tin lepta aluminum coin in this video. But it features a trident and 2 dolphins on this side. And then when we flip it over, it's dated 1973, and it has the phoenix rising on it. So there are 2 versions of this coin, and they were both made in 1973. This comes from a period of Greek history where they were ruled by the regime of the colonels, a military junta that was running the country at the time. And in 1973, the government decided that they wanted to, the way I understand it is they wanted to step aside, and so they started to change some of the symbolism on their coins. Eventually they did leave out a year or 2 later than this, but there are 2 different versions of this coin, and they're both made in 1973, but the first version has the year that that government started written here across the bottom. I think it's April of 1967 written here. But then there is also a soldier standing in front of the eagle, in front of the phoenix that is on this side. And so both of those were removed on here, and the eagle was made a little, the phoenix was made larger on this version of the coin. Catalog number KM 103. The dealer here got the detail wrong and wrote 102, the other version of this coin. Here's a coin I already had, but I like it anyway. This one's from Uruguay, from 1965, featuring Jose Artigas. Catalog KM46. It was only made for 1 year. This is a coin that features a metal rotation, so we flip it over this way to get to the other side. And it's the 1 peso, and so it's a large enough coin that we can see some pretty good details here on the back of that one. So here is the next coin that I did think I already had. This one is from Socialist Romania. Catalog number is 92A. This one is a 5 Bani coin from 1975. It's A because this is the aluminum version of the coin, but in 1966, soon after Romania became socialist, this coin was made out of nickel-clad steel for 1 year, and then was made out of aluminum this 1 year of 1975. So this next coin, I knew I had it, but I'm thinking it was probably going to be an upgrade. This one is from Indonesia. It is a 5 rupiah coin from 1974. But what makes this one interesting is the other side on here. We've got a family with 2 children. The large letters KB on here, which is an abbreviation for these words across the top that I'm not going to try and pronounce, but there's the K, there's the B, which is the Indonesian family planning concept. And then the rest of the words on here translate to towards the welfare of the people. So during this time in Indonesia, they were dealing with an overpopulation crisis. The average family was having about 5 children. And they were thinking they were going to run out of resources if that trend continued. And it may have helped a little bit from that point on. The average family going forward ended up having about 4 children per family. So maybe that ended up working. Some places refer to this as an FAO coin, but not all places. So I'm not really sure whether or not it is. Here's a fairly modern coin from Nicaragua. Their coat of arms features the triangle with the 5 volcanoes and a Phrygian cap radiating above it. This is their 25 centavos, dated 2002. This specific coin was made from 2002 to 2007, and it is still a current currency. This is Nicaragua's 3rd Cordoba. And in foreign exchange value, in American money, this is worth 0.68 cents. It also has some segmented reading on here, but it's always kind of hard to see that when it's in the flip. You can kind of barely see it right there. Catalog number on that one is KM99. We'll move to Ceylon. So we've got the British monarch at this time is going to be Queen Elizabeth II. So we have her first portrait, which is also sometimes called the laureate bust because of the laurel in her hair. That was a common thing for the British monarch, female or male, to have in their portraits during some time. This one dates back to 1955. It is a 2 cents coin. Catalog KM 124. Has this scalloped edge design with 8 divots on it. And it has, in 2 different languages, it has the word 2 cents written also in Sinhala and Tamil, which are the other languages that are spoken in Ceylon, in addition to English. We have a coin from Brazil that some people would think is an unusual denomination for a coin. This one is a 300 race, dated 1940, and that isn't just any squiggly decoration that's going around the words on here. That is called the Marajoara decoration collar, which I believe is some of the indigenous people of Brazil from prehistoric times. This coin features Getulio Vargas, who was the president of Brazil at the time, later became a dictator. This coin is made out of copper nickel, but the catalog notes that in 1942 they ended up putting more copper and less nickel in the coin, so that changed the color to appear more of a yellowish. And they note that, but they didn't give it a different catalog number because of that. But this one is catalog KM 546. The 50-cent coin from South Africa features 3 different flowers, which are native to South Africa. We have the arum lily, the African lily, and the bird of paradise. This comes from a time in South Africans' coinage where when a president was outgoing for 1 year, they would put that president on the coins. So the outgoing president in 1968 was Charles Swart. So all of these presidential outgoing series was always made for 1 year. But something else that they were doing in 1968 was they had bilingual coins. And so there are 2 different versions of this coin. One will say South Africa in English, but this one has the Afrikaans Suid-Afrika. So this one is catalog 79.2. So the 0.1 version of this coin would have it in English. Here is our first silver coin of the video. The coins from Panama, at least for many of their years, have been pegged to the United States currency, and so their coins also have the same metal content and size as American coins. So the Panamanian 1/10 of a Balboa has the same size and metal content as a United States dime, or 1/10 of a dollar. And the US dollar is also 90% silver with a weight of 0.0723 ounces on it. This is KM 18. Getting this one for $1 was actually a really good price. This is going to be one more coin that I thought I already had, but I missed one key detail on it when I picked it up, so I didn't have it. And it's that they added the word cinquentenario across the bottom. This is celebrating the 50th anniversary of Panama becoming a republic. So even though they're pegged to the American money, the coin was actually made in Mexico City. And today, with the price of silver has gone up from about $30 an ounce to $40 an ounce. So I'm quoting today's spot price. This is going to have about $3 of silver melt value to it. But so I only paid $1. But the Numista price on here is going to be $5 on this coin because it is a 1-year coin. If I didn't mention it earlier, these coins are sorted in how much they cost. And so the $1 and up coins are for the rest of the video. This one is from Ghana. There are 2 different versions of this coin. This one is catalog 31A. It is a 50 cedis coin from 1997. This shows the seal of Ghana on this side. It was made in 1997. And on this side we have some bush drums. Their slogan of freedom and justice. The 1991 version of this coin is made out of copper nickel, but this version, which was made from 95 to 99, is nickel-plated steel. These were made at the Royal Canadian Mint, and this one's in pretty good shape, but I actually had forgotten when I bought this that I had one that was made in, they didn't sell proofs, but some of the nicest specimens they ended up making from the Royal Canadian Mint look just like some Canadian proofs, so with the frosted details on it. That may have been the first coin in this video that Numista thinks I overpaid for. So this next coin is labeled as Netherlands East Indies. However, when you look in your catalog, this one was intended to circulate in Sumatra. It is listed as a 2 cents coin. It's from 1837, so it's very well worn. But I think that's a T right there, 2 cents, which is unusual because they didn't use cents in the Netherlands East Indies or Sumatra. So instead, they used a currency, the coins, they're called the duits, and so this coin was called the double duit. We flip it over, and it has the abbreviation of Netherland and Indy, then the date of 1838 with J. I don't think the J is a mint mark, but I couldn't find out what that was for. The Netherlands, sometimes they have engraver initials on their coins, but not really sure. Now, it is a coin that's almost 200 years old, but they made 93 million of them, so it's not particularly that rare. But in very good condition, he charged $1.50, and Numista thinks it's worth $2, so that was still a pretty good price. The catalog number is KM291. We're back to Uruguay, and this one is a circulating commemorative coin, catalog KM58. This one honors poet Jose Enrique Rodo. This is a one-year coin made out of nickel brass. And he charged $2 for this one. Another one that Numista thinks was an overpay because they say it's worth $1.20. But since he's a poet, he is listed, or this side of the coin features a quill and a book to write in. It was made in 1971. Here's the second coin of the video to feature a lily. This one is from Guernsey, and that species is actually called the Guernsey lily. The value of this coin is a 4 doubles. So Guernsey is a British protectorate, and in their money system, 8 doubles is equal to 1 penny in their pre-decimal system. So a 4 doubles would be the same size as a half penny, which Britain would have made back at that time. I'll also note here, I actually recognize the handwriting of most of the things on here. He scratched out the original price, but there are 2 dealers I really like to visit in Knoxville, and the dealer I bought this coin from he himself bought this coin from the other dealer because I recognize the way he does his flips on here. But just like the catalog says, the catalog says there are 240,000 of these made. Numista believes that is a mistake and noted that there were actually 495,000 of these made, so maybe it's not as rare. As it turns out, I did have it, but it's still going to be an upgrade in my collection. So Numista thinks this one is worth $2.50. Then we'll look at the other side here, the shield that has the 3 lions on it. I like the font that or the typeface that they use on the Guernsey coins on this side. KM15. We're going to move to a circulating commemorative coin from India. This one is a very busy flip, has a lot written on it, but this one's going to be a 5 rupee. We flip it over. The date here is very tiny, 2012, written right there. Has a diamond mint mark at the very bottom, so that means this was made in Mumbai. And we look at the words on here. Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine Board. So, took me a while to fully understand exactly what that means. And also in tiny words it says the Silver Jubilee. So this was the 25th anniversary. 2012 was the 25th anniversary that the Shrine Board was created. This board administers a cave temple to the Hindu goddess Vaishno Devi, which I apologize if I am mispronouncing that, but apparently Vaishno Devi is the goddess who is pictured on this coin. Catalog number in this one is KM 429. is a 1-year coin. I paid $2. Another one that Numista thinks was an overpay. Next coin is going to be from the Soviet Union, and during this time, the USSR, or in their language, CCCP, had a lot of commemorative 1 ruble coins, which would all look like this on one side, but then would show up what they're commemorating on the other one. So we've got a lot going on here. This one is dated 1979. The date the coin was made was right here, but it's celebrating the fact that they were hosting the 1980 Summer Olympics. So the logo of the Olympics and the date 1980 appears right here. And so this is probably means that it's the 22nd Olympiad. So everything else on here has to do with space exploration. So in the foreground, we have this a replica of a really tall monument. So this one is, I think it was something like I forget exactly how tall it is, but a quite tall monument in Moscow called Monument to the Conquerors of Space. So it appears to be a rocket that's blasting off. So the very top of it is a rocket right there, and what's holding it up is the, I guess, the jet propulsion smoke coming out of it. So kind of neat monument, but at about the time this coin or that monument was made, it appeared on I think it was the 20 kopeck, a 1-year commemorative. Then at the top here we have their satellite Sputnik, and then behind the monument, this wide thing, is their spacecraft called Soyuz. So this one commemorates, if you like space or you like Olympics, there's a lot to like about this coin. Catalog number in this one is Y165. He charged $3, and Numista thinks it's also worth $3. We have our second silver coin of the video, and I could tell right away that this was a damaged coin because it has a hole in it right there, but it's also got that little diamond or square on it also, and when we look at the other side, it may have been a little spot of silver that was plugged in. I got this because I was wondering if it was a chop mark, but I also got it because I purchased it pretty close to spot price. Zoom out here for a moment. So he was charging, one time he tried charging $7 for it because of the extra fine details, but he made it, well, it's a hold coin, so he put a price tag of $4 on it. Now, the day that I purchased it at $30 an ounce, 0.14 would have been pretty much buying it at spot price. However, he made a mistake, and he got that wrong. He got some of the digits switched around. It's actually 0.1042 ounces of silver on this one. So today, now that it's $40 an ounce, that means this is worth $4 of silver, minus whatever the hole is missing because of the hole. But in a recent video, I actually got the 50 sen of the similar design here. So we've got kind of a radiant sun in the middle, some cherry blossom leaves going around it. He said it was year 40 of the emperor, and that's how you could tell the date of 1907. But I think he made a mistake on that. This is year 4. This is the plus to make it 40. But then he did discounted whatever this number would have been. That could be a 1, 2, or 3. So this is somewhere between 1908 to 1910. So I'm going to say it's actually 1909. As we flip this one over, we've got the number 2 and then a plus for 20, and then the symbol for sen. We've got the chrysanthemum that appears on a lot of coins, and we've got some chrysanthemum leaves on this side and paulownia leaves on that silver coin. This next coin is said to be a non-circulating coin. However, I did think it was interesting that both the price guide and Numista list it as different values in addition to just uncirculated. So this comes from a time where Germany had a lot of commemorative 5 mark coins. And I will note that each one has a different eagle on it. So they redesigned the eagle for every single commemorative coin they had. This one was only made in 1981, It's got a J mint mark right here, the only mint to make this coin. J is the one in Hamburg. And instead of a portrait, it has kind of an outline of a profile on here, plus a signature at the very bottom. And then the name's going around the edge here. Gotthold Ephraim Lessing has a signature below his profile. He lived from 1729 to 1781, so this coin was made in the 200th anniversary of his death. He is a philosopher who was very influential in the Age of Enlightenment movement. Catalog number in this one is KM 154. This is not silver. So we've got one last coin, and I'm going to actually pull it out of the clear flip just so we can get a good look at it. And I'm willing to do this because I got it for spot price. But this one is a silver bullion coin from Armenia. And so, got a couple of fingerprints on it, but it's still got a pretty nice proof look to it. So Armenia has its own alphabet, which is around the top half of this coin. At the bottom it says Republic of Armenia. Their currency is the dram, so this one is a 500 dram from 2016. It is a bullion 1 ounce coin of fine 999 AG, which stands for silver on the periodic table. And that is a still valid currency, so in American money, 500 drams is worth $1.31. So no one's actually going to cash these in, but that's true for pretty much all bullion coins. There is a mint mark over here that I don't think I've seen before. L, a large E, and then V, and so that is a company from Germany called Leipziger, and I couldn't pronounce the other words. So, but their abbreviation is LEV. So do you remember the question that I asked at the beginning of this video? What country makes a coin featuring Noah's Ark? The answer to that would be Armenia. And I thought I was really good at geography, but as it turns out, I didn't know enough about geography to know that it was anywhere near Noah's Ark. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the Bible story, Noah's Ark landed near or on Mount Ararat. And so that mountain today is in the region of Turkey, but Armenia borders Turkey in that area. And so the place where Noah's Ark actually landed probably is somewhere today that's part of Turkey, but based on culture and tradition, Armenia also celebrates that's where Noah's Ark was found, and so they don't really care too much about the specifics of the border today, but maybe at one time that part of Mount Ararat, if it landed on low enough on the mountain, maybe that's where it was found. But we've got Mount Ararat in the background, and I like holding. The reason I wanted to hold this coin is I like the way that the sun rays shine the light as I kind of twist it like this. We've got Noah's Ark in the foreground, a bunch of waves, and then in front of that we have a frosted peace dove that came back with the olive branch. So I really like the design of this one. So this is the Armenian bullion coin that they have made since 2011 and still make this year. There were 529,000 of these made in this year of 2016. It has a catalog number of KM 196. So even though they didn't make that many this year, in total over all years they have made a total of 5 million. So I don't know how many people want to collect all the years of it, but let's pull out the flip. So I bought this when silver was at $30 an ounce, and so he was wanting to charge $37 on it. He's calling this proof 65. I guess that's reasonable. Now, the Armenians, the mint doesn't actually call this a proof version. The actual version that they sell as, that they, quote, call the proof version, they only make 2,000 of those every year, and they put a serial number on the edge. And so I flipped it over just to make sure I didn't see a serial number on any side, and I do not. So this is not the version which they call the proof version of here. So Numista says that this would be worth $56. I'm not going to go with that. I'm just going to go with the spot price today of $40 on this one, but do think that it is quite neat. Anything else on the flip that we need to know? I guess not. And if you're worried about my fingerprints, I have it back to safety now inside of the flip. This is not one of those flips that will make it turn green over time, so I'm going to keep it in this flip for now. So let's talk about totals on here. I told you that he gave me a discount, and I've kind of hinted at that in my previous videos. The sticker price on everything in this video came out to $62.45, but he gave me essentially a third of the price off. So what I actually paid was about $42 for the entire stack, or you could almost say that I got the entire stack for what this coin on the top itself was worth. So he was charging $37 for this coin, and so that meant that I paid it under spot price when it was $30 an ounce. And so now that it's $40 an ounce, I'm thinking I did really well. The total Numista price of everything that we looked at in this video was $75. So from what the community thinks, I did really well in this video. So let me zoom back out. We've got one more video of a stack of coins that we're going to look at here, and this final stack will be the fourth video. I'll go ahead and give you a teaser. While the most expensive coin in the series is this one, the coin on the bottom of the final stack is one that he said, while it's not the most expensive, he said it's the only one I'm not going to give you a discount over. So we'll find out in our next video why he would say that. All right, until then, I'll catch you next time. Bye.